Caitlin, you comfortable with our distance?
Every time I move this mic,
That doesn't sound quite right.
Noise.
Sounds like fireworks.
Check 1, 2.
I quit doing it.
See you, Vic.
How you feeling?
Oh, Nick.
All right. And your son?
I'll move over for you,
Are
Nick.
we gonna be far enough away, or you want me to go somewhere else? No,
Joe, did Kathy get it?
Here, Nick, you can,
I got tested like 8 months ago, I was fine.
I'm not worried about it as long as you don't have COVID.
No.
so I book a house in Jamaica
COVID chaser.
for June.
I didn't want to say that, Joe.
What are you telling us?
Got a chef, a maid, a masseuse, staff for the house. Well, they said you gotta get tested before you go down, you gotta get tested before you leave. I'm talking to Tom Lee Tuesday, I said, Ben, you know, if you test positive down there,
You're stuck.
they put you in government housing. Quarantine. Like, holy shit. So I'm gonna call the house, say, you make sure I can get another week. Guarantee I can rent it for 2 weeks if I have to.
There you
Come
go.
my ear to you.
Yeah, the other night for the,
Hey, Leslie, do we have, council agendas though? Because I like to have those in front of me.
Ben had the, he had me sitting right between them. I told him I didn't want to
Sure, I'll come get it.
You grab me one too, Scott.
Yeah.
be here. I told Caitlin, it's not that I don't like it.
Where's Ron? Doesn't Ron sit here? Ron.
Well, that's fine. All that I'll move it, I think it's all right.
I was gonna say, leave it up.
Just move,
Between 3 to 4.
you know, wait, I don't have to have a desk to sit at.
I think so.
And where did you get them?
Person we had to take the picture was Hardesty Imaging. They're up in like Manor.
Okay.
They're ironically coming to my office tomorrow to shoot a video. So if you want me to ask, I can.
Well, I'd like to know where to get them printed, because I, you know.
Yeah, they handle it.
Oh, they print them, so
Yeah,
so would they
they-
print for me?
Yeah, they do it for anybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah, I can get you their info.
Yes, please.
Yeah, yeah.
For council, yeah, please. I just like to have it in front of me to see where we're at and stay in tune.
Sure.
Call the meeting to order at 5:30. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
You got your button up? You gotta have it up.
Yeah, go ahead and do it again.
Do it again.
Call the meeting to order at 5:30. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Having none, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of January 14th?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes pass. Old business. Village finances. Nick, please.
Hey, okay.
Yeah.
I had it pushed the wrong way. All right, so I,
Got the crib sheet right here. You need it? Push,
Okay.
talk.
nice. Got it. All right, so I sent out the email. I wanted to give an explanation first up front about the numbers on the water and sewer. So the reason why that looks so much higher is not because there's more usage. It's because there were some pretty big commercial accounts that were behind that ended up paying in January. So when you see that, I just don't want you guys thinking it's, this is going to be double the rest of the year
So
through.
if you do a look back,
Yeah, compared to the year before.
I was saying, how was our last quarter? How are our last 2 quarters of 2020? I mean, if they didn't pay and they paid now, we should have been,
Yeah, I don't think it was that
I didn't notice anything that looked.
Yeah, I don't think it was that significant. But it was apparently, the account, one of the accounts specifically was
Right.
fairly large alone that was behind, so. But income tax is correct. The income tax was truly up, the amount that I had sent out. Income tax was up, about 80,000 compared to the year before. So that's 28% higher. And then last year in January, it was up 46% higher than it was the year before. Part of that was because That was the first true month comparatively that the income tax difference. But the point is, we've even held on to that from last January and added another 30% on top of that. So the main driver of that was withholding. Now, there were 5 Fridays in January, so that could be part of it. Just like payroll for us, the past 2 years, we've had 3 payrolls in January. This year, we only had 2. So that's why it looked like payroll was down, overall. But that could be part of it. But honestly, I mean, that's, even with that factored out, it seems like employment's still pretty strong here in the village. So that's a good thing. So far, year to date, we're up 28% compared to last year. We were already able to put $72,266 into infrastructure fund. It's a pretty good start as well for January. So payroll, as I mentioned, it was 151,019 for January, 167 last year, and then this year 116. But again, it's because we had 2 payrolls. But you can see that difference there of about 50 grand. That's why, this month looks as good as it does as well. We're up compared to last year in the loss, I guess you could say. Our loss is better by about 45 grand. But 50 grand of that would be payroll. So again, that's still a good start. And this is with the debt payments that came out in January. So we brought in 637,000. Last year we brought in 459. Our expenses were actually down. Again, 752,000 versus 848. 50 grand of that would be payroll. So you'd still have a spread there of about 48,000. But the year before, we had improved by about 45,000 compared to the year before. So we've additionally improved. And I think, Leslie, and I didn't dig into this, I think in January last year, we had a decent amount of money already going out for some of these projects. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's, this isn't going to be, we're going to have money going out later for other things, but again, it's still all positive. I mean, we're at a loss for the year so far of 115, but that's after making a $500,000 debt payment. A year ago, our loss was 389. Okay, so that's a very good improvement. I did update for you guys the debt balances, so those did drop because these include the new payments that came out in January. So we're down to a little bit over $7 million left in debt, but we started with $18,513,000. So it's come down quite a bit, obviously. And some of these, in the semi-near term, you're going to have that Sperry Lane come off in 2025, so in 4 years. That's $312,000 a year. You're going to have that water loop come off here in 2024. So in the next 5-6 years, you're going to have a decent amount. And of course, there may be new ones that we'll add along the way, but the point is, you're going to have some of these start falling off relatively soon. So it was a good start to the year. I'm not expecting it to stay like this the entire year, of course, but it's a good start. Income tax is the most important thing, and that started out real strong, so.
So there's no opportunity for interest rate discussion?
Not to my knowledge. No, I don't think that, they don't,
I can borrow money cheaper than this right now.
yeah, I don't think there's any negotiating interest rates. I don't think you can change the rates, to my knowledge. Just like they won't let you prepay either. I mean, I can always call and see if something's changed, but to my knowledge, it hasn't. But remember, too, in some of the years that we got these rates were...
Attractive.
Right, because a good rate was 7-8%.
Unattractive.
Right. Yeah. So that is all I have, if there's any questions.
So we're apples to apples now,
Yes, right,
which is nice. I mean,
right.
we had that 0.25%
1 month.
fudge factor in there for most of the year last year. It's like we are now apples to apples, so it's very encouraging to me.
Yeah.
Any questions for Nick? Wage scale and increases based off income tax collecting.
Well, I saw your suggestion, Sam, and it was a good, but it's overwhelming in scope, in my opinion, to put that together in a formula that works. So I really think we should have a work session, and I don't know if it needs to be the whole committee or anyone that, Nick, if you could find time, we could sit down. So I really think everything is there that we need. We just got to figure out how we're going to structure it, how we're going to weight this element or that element. I think you did a great job of listing all the elements. I just don't know how to put them into a formula that when you get to the end of the year, you hit the button and it says, there's the increase.
Well, Leslie even mentioned last month about some places do step increases and bonuses, so that wasn't included in my input, with also things to be considered, I think. People have licenses that we knew.
Yeah, there's a bonus program that I thought
Yeah.
was a great idea, and that's an
Yeah.
annual bonus regardless. It's not a one-time deal, to give incentives for people to put the effort in. So who in the finance committee would like to be involved in that? Caitlin?
I'll do it.
Carl? All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And Nick. So we'll just get the finance committee together with Nick. We probably shouldn't have, can we do a work session, Leslie, with all three? I don't want to do it publicly. We may limit it to Nick and a couple councilmen, not three. But I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'm thinking to have an effective discussion, it can't be public.
I can sit it out, Mayor. It doesn't matter either way. I'll be glad to help, or
Sam, Caitlin, and I, and you, Nick, will set something up before, sooner than later, I hope. Do you have any, Thursdays good for you? Set it now for 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
11 o'clock? Make it work? 11 o'clock, 2 weeks from today.
Got it. Put on, email myself now.
Okay. New business. Number 1, Resolution 21 TAC 03. A resolution authorizing the village administrator to enter into a water well license agreement with the city of Akron and declaring an emergency to follow.
So it's, in your packet.
Got it.
It's in your packet now. I also emailed them all out this afternoon. The legislation just allows us to enter an agreement for well number 5 site location. An example of the agreement, it's still going back and forth between the 2 legal departments.
Why is this on as an emergency if it's not ready to go through legal?
Tom has it written up that pending the approval of the mayor. After council approves,
after
like
council
council
approves.
approves you to approve it once it's all through the legal. Let me pull it up for you.
I saw it, I just put it on the top, is this ready to be voted on? In my opinion, it's not.
We can just put it on a first reading, and then that way when we do have it ready, it'll carry the emergency clause.
Put on as emergency on first reading. Put on as emergency with first reading.
Yeah,
Then we can pass it on second reading.
yeah, we'll pass it in March. I don't foresee it coming back within the next 2 weeks, so, I mean, it's only about 3 weeks until the next meeting because of the short month, so.
Can I have a motion, please, to send this to council?
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Send to council. Number 2, Ordinance 21 TAC 108, an ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to accept Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, NOPEC, 2021 Energized Community Grant funds.
This is the legislation to sign the agreement with NOPEC. We use it every year.
Every year.
We do have in the, I'll just call it the pot, $22,503.73 to do energy efficient project. We have to, at minimum, use $3,674 this year, or we lose it.
We have anything on the ticker file to do? Is there a project?
I'm sure, well, we could find a project, yeah. There's a lot of different things that we would be able to do with it.
Any questions for Leslie or discussion?
You have any upfront costs for LED streetlights?
There would be, the costs are,
Is there money there that we could use for that?
yeah, I mean, you could use that for LED streetlights. I think it's 301 or 302 ahead. At least that's what it was when we did the project.
Looks to me like when they're going out, they're replacing with LED, is that fact?
Yeah, that's part of the new
Stands
rider.
out like a sore thumb. So not only does it's an improvement, it makes the other areas look even worse than they did prior, because now you're comparing, you're driving around like, what the, like, did I have a stroke? Oh, no, there's an LED light up there. So I'd like to get this consistent because I think it is a much better light.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
mean, big time.
I mean, I drive some of these side streets, like, it'd be great if they had LED, it's so stinking dark. I think it'd be a nice, so I think we should identify someone for that.
Okay. Yeah, the minimum that you would want to spend, so you don't lose it, like I said, is just over 3,600.
How many lamps will that do?
About 10, because they're about $302
Piece.
a piece, somewhere in there.
Because you guys now have the whole, this part, right? Like you're expanding it this way? Yeah?
We're not expanding, we did everything we were gonna do, but as they go out, so now you got one on West High, two Sodiums and one LED.
Yeah, right.
It'd be a
Yeah.
nice backfill.
The
Everyone
in-betweens.
Go to the furthest LED right now, backfill, so at least it's consistent until you get out of it.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Is there a motion to send this to council?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 3, ordinance 21, TAC 109, an ordinance authorizing the hiring of Patrick Hooney as a part-time police officer as of February 12, 2021, at the initial pay rate of $17 per hour and declaring an emergency. To follow.
Patrick Cooney would be our next part-time hire, coming in at a starting pay of $17 per hour. I would like to ask the committee that after he's done with his FTO training, that we take his pay up to $19 an hour, which would be about 15% lower than starting pay for a full-time officer. So $17 per hour during his training period. After he makes it through FTO training, I would ask that it goes up to $19 an hour.
I have no problem with that.
I'll make a
Does the,
motion that we do that.
I'll second.
Does the ordinance need to be changed to say that?
No, it's in there already.
It is? To go 19?
It's one of the sections. It allows Joe to use his discretion if Joe doesn't feel like he gives Joe the ability to give up to another $2 after the training period.
Is there a motion to take ordinance 21, TAC 109 to the council?
So when I talked to Tom, it's not in stone. You don't start at 17 and go to 19. It's, if you warrant it, you get it. If you don't, you don't, right?
Correct. Yeah, if he doesn't make it through his training period, I mean, we're not
And you
going
may
to.
hire Patrick too after this in a couple weeks, and he may never go to 19
Correct.
as a part-time officer, because he's
Right.
not showing the level of.
Improvement. Correct.
So would you hire him anyway? I mean, I don't get it.
Well, no, probably not. I mean, we use the FTO period as a training period, so either they excel good enough to be an officer on our department or they don't.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
I don't want it to be a step thing where the person's still here, you give them $19 and then you get rid of them.
Right.
It's gotta be, it kind of ties your hands. If it's after 6 months, you go tonight, it's like, we want to have it so it's loose.
So is there a motion to take this to council?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 4, ordinance 21 TAC 110, an ordinance authorizing the village administrator to enter into a debt collection program in agreement with the Office of the Ohio Attorney General pursuant to revised code section 131.02 and declaring an emergency.
So this program, we would partner with the Ohio Attorney General to pursue our debt collections on those who have not paid their income tax to the village that they should have.
I thought we had an attorney. I thought Coyne was taking care of this now for us.
Sure, so you can put it through, Dennis Quinn actually does the non-filers. So those who have not even filed their taxes, he goes after them and puts a blocker on their license. If they were to not appear in the court, actually it helps them get into court to file. These are the people which Dennis could then send it back to the courts, and then the court would pick the payment plan. Or you could do it to the Attorney General, and they have a set-up payment plan that's already in stone. Like, this is how you do it, this is the percentage that you pay. So that was the main difference.
Is this an issue in this community?
There are a few, yeah. You're gonna start to see a lot more non-filers being filed and start paying, and if those people fall off of their payment plans, then those are the people that will be sent to this program. You're not set in for a certain amount of time either, so if you do a couple accounts and you don't like how it's running, you don't have to continue with it, or you also don't have to send all your accounts. So it's really customizable.
Is there a fee?
Yeah.
There's a fee to the user.
Right, it's to the user pays
So the
it.
person who didn't pay pays the fee.
I will tell you, this works, and it gets people's attention immediately. Because doing what I do for a living, we get people who don't pay their taxes, whether it be sales tax, cat tax, personal income tax. You get a letter that comes in certified from the Ohio Attorney General's office, people tend to jump on it way quicker. And the thing that is beautiful about it is those fees, now they'll negotiate the fees. We don't care. The Attorney General will sometimes negotiate the fee with the person, if it's a big dollar amount. But, they'll get charged the fee, not the village, basically is how it goes. So I think it's a good idea. I do.
Sounds like a win-win.
Yeah, and Dennis is doing a great job with what he's doing. Like she said, these are for the people that, after Dennis gets them to the table to actually file and then let us know what they owe, these are the people where if they made a payment plan and then they don't pay, that's who these people would go to. So,
We had a process here to handle those people, because I've been in a couple of hearings with them here in the village for people that didn't pay, were identified. I think you were involved with that too, Scott. You ran a temp agency that was,
Yeah, I would keep that, yeah.
so what happened to that process?
You still have that process, that committee meets only if they request an appeal.
This whole thing is strange to me because it's so hush-hush. It was private, it's like HIPAA. You can't talk about it, you can't, it's like, I know places all over this town that aren't paying income tax. And I'm not allowed to say anything because I can't identify them, because I'm not in that position to identify. I can do it just by looking around and saying, so how do we fix that?
Dan, I mean,
To me, if you don't want to pay it in this village, you just don't pay.
well, but that's what this will do. Like, look, okay. So finally, credit to Dennis Coyne, we have somebody who's actually holding people accountable and getting results. some of the prior people we had working on these accounts didn't do anything. Let's just, what it really is. This,
Who's identifying non-payers?
well, Tish is. And then Dennis Coyne now, because we have somebody who's actually getting the process done, he is now going after those
Communicate
people.
to Tish when she's not aware of something you're aware of. You're not allowed to.
Are you talking about like number of employees or someone just completely operating and not paying outright?
Operating a business not paying income tax.
So just give her the name of the person and she'll look it up and see if they're there or not, and then can send them the
Taken
first
this
letter.
person to court before, and he still doesn't pay.
Well, then that person would end up, if we've already taken them to court, then we already have that case.
Years ago. I'm gonna go off. It's like, it just infuriates me.
You can just have her monitor, you can have her look it up and she'll know.
And she should send it to Dennis.
Right.
Is what should happen now. And then if the person with Dennis, because Dennis, he's making it where he gets results, because like she said, he'll make it where you can't drive your car. And then at that point, people then tend to come out of the woodwork. And then if those people, they're allowed to go on a payment plan, and then if they default, that's where the Attorney General's office will come in, and they will, yeah. So I know what you're saying. I mean, but Tisha's got to make sure she's going out. I mean, like if somebody tells Tish that, and that is right, like that's on us internally. If that's not being done, that's a problem.
Yeah,
I mean-
if you know of something you've told her and she didn't, we can talk after and you can let me know.
I mean, I think she's doing that, but, you know, if that's, yeah.
Well, I know we pay to this coin, but do the offenders also pay him? I mean, how's that work?
Say that one more time, I'm sorry?
So we know that if they get into the AG program, they reimburse the AG.
Yeah, right.
The same thing apply to coin?
No, I mean, we have court costs that we have to pay, but normally
Why doesn't the offender pay the court cost?
that is out of my,
The
I don't
offender
know.
does pay the court costs. So if someone were to come in and say, they're like, oh, I don't owe anything, and we realize they don't owe anything, they still have to pay the court costs. So it's still, I think it's $160 now, I think around there. They still owe, so
Okay.
if there was someone who didn't have taxable income, they still owe the court cost if they got that far.
They're not paying Dennis's salary that we're paying Dennis.
Right.
Right.
I don't think that was something that changed in one of the House bills where you
Right.
couldn't, you could no longer try to recoup that cost. I don't remember which one it was. It was like 3 or 4 years ago, but,
So Sam's question is, the Attorney General is charging them. If they owe 100 grand, the Attorney General's getting 30 grand for chasing it down and collecting it, and that's their legal fee at 30%. Why isn't coin reimbursable by the defendant?
Yeah, it seems to me we're still losing money in the deal. I mean, we're paying
Well-
coin.
yeah, but you are and you aren't. It's, the juice is worth the squeeze because you're getting somebody who might have owed you 3 grand and it's costing you a couple $100 to get the 3 grand because the person wasn't paying before. I mean, I know what you're saying, but it's just kind of like the cost of doing business. But I think in House Bill 5 or one of those bills, they made it where you can't try to go after for the fees of internal fees. There's something, it's been years, I'd have to read on what it is. And if something's changed, I mean, I don't know everything, so not a lawyer. I guess
Yeah, I don't,
maybe a Tom Lee.
Change lets Yost do it.
I'm sorry?
This identifies a change that permits Yost to do this. The Attorney General can go after these people.
Well, the collection costs are different than the prosecution, but I can ask Tom Lee to look it up. I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, I don't know I just know that Dennis has really gotten people
Yeah.
to come in the doors.
Okay.
I mean, and that has not happened for years, so.
Next month, I've already talked to Tish, you're gonna be seeing on that one small income tax report, it'll start showing the collection costs. So the costs that we incurred, for collecting those outstanding funds.
Piecework, right, Sam?
Yeah, really?
Pie, that's it. No fee. You get a piece of the pie.
But I'll ask Tom Lee if he has
Okay.
info on that.
Is there a motion to take ordinance 21, TAC 1102 to the council?
So moved.
I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 5, ordinance 21, TAC 111, an ordinance amending chapter 135 of the codified ordinances to create the position of lead wastewater water plant operator.
So this is coming out of, Ben had asked me to do a succession plan for the village. And when we do need to go and hire another both plant operator, a dual plant operator, you do need to have that kind of hierarchy. So this would create the position of a lead operator who would carry the same licensures as your plant's operations manager. In case your plant's operations manager is off, or sick or out, you're still making your required hours that are required by the, OAC.
So are they mirrored now in ability, Joe, as far as license?
Yeah, there.
They are?
Yeah, when, after we establish this, Pat would be the person that I think you would want to just move in title only into that lead operator position, and then advertise for an operator.
And if Mike were to leave tomorrow, can Pat fill his shoes legally?
Yeah.
Is there a motion to take ordinance 21, TAC 111 to council?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a need for executive session? If not, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, stand adjourned at 8:59, 7:59, 5:59.
Streets, utilities, and plenty of time, that's it. I can show you how bored I was after my day. Came down here to listen to you.
Yeah, so here's, they're super aggressive on their income tax. I mean, so I had this client, this was probably like 3-4 years ago, old grandmother, she's in her 70s. She had a part-time job. She didn't file your expo return. And they kept mailing her, saying, hey, you gotta file. She got pulled over. And they ended up having to take her in because there was a warrant for her arrest.
Wow.
She said,
Probably owed like, $112.
oh, but the point is, like, that's why here, I mean, I'm happy. I mean, point.
add up.
It does.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, like, the thing for me is, if you decide to live in the Middlefield Village or a village